Today we're shining a light on the incredible work being done right here in our community by Catholic Charities of Washtenaw County. I'm joined by two dedicated leaders, Rachael Dawson-Baglien and Brigette Murray, who are on the front lines helping individuals and families navigate some of life's most challenging moments. From providing food and housing support to offering behavioral health services and assistance for seniors, Catholic Charities plays a vital role in strengthening the fabric of Washtenaw County. In this conversation, we'll explore growing needs in our community, the programs making a real difference, and how each of us can get involved to support our neighbors. Whether you're a longtime resident or new to the area, this is a conversation about compassion, connection, and the power of community. Welcome to the podcast, and today we are talking to Rachael Dawson-Baglien and Brigette Murray, both of Catholic Charities of Washtenaw County. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So can you start with an introduction of yourselves and tell us a little bit about your role at Catholic Charities of Washtenaw County?
Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead. So my name is Brigette Murray. I am the president here at Catholic Charities in Washtenaw County. I just started about 4 months ago. And I'm really excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Rachael Dawson-Baglien. I am the Senior Resource Manager here at Catholic Charities. That means that I oversee all of our resource navigation programs. I also run the Senior Resource Connect program, and I have been here it's going to be 7 years next month.
Oh, wow. So how did you both become involved with the Catholic Charities?
Oh, that's a good question. So I went to Eastern Michigan. It was 2007. I graduated and moved around a little with my husband between them. But about 10 years ago, I settled back here in Washtenaw County, and just over this summer, kind of exploring, what else I wanted to do with my career. I came upon this position and learned so much about what we do here, which I know we're going to talk about a lot on the podcast today, and really just felt inspired to be part of it. So that's kind of my journey, an express version.
I have my degree in community organizing, and I've worked with older adults for a long time. I was running kind of an adult program at a community center that had been around since the 90s. And then I saw the job application for my program, which used to be called Ahead of the Curve. And I thought, that is so cool. How often do you get to create something from the ground up? And I've been here ever since.
So is this your first foray into a nonprofit or working in social services?
So for me, it is. I worked for the federal government for just over 18 years, actually. I worked for the Department of Veterans Affairs with benefits. And so I was fortunate enough, I got a job processing claims out of college and moved around and kind of moved up through that organization, division management for some years. And then the last 4 or 5 years, I was actually doing project management and some budget and communications on a national level. So I worked for DC, but lived in the Ann Arbor area. And so I kind of had sort of the whole view of that organization. And I found, as I thought about what else I wanted to do in my career and kind of looked around and saw this position, nonprofit work is very similar to the way the federal government functions. And so for me, I had the experience in management and a lot of the other, I hate to say, finding money and trying to, do that human services. So through Veterans Affairs, we're obviously doing, very similar things, helping provide benefits and finding where those areas of needs are. And I found, here we do it for Washtenaw County and a variety of services. As you'll see, we have a lot of different programs we run, but very similar in the way it's managed. So that kind of led me that way.
Thank you for your service, first of all.
Thanks.
Yeah. Worked in nonprofits my entire life. I have about 15 years experience working in different nonprofits, both big and small.
Good. So for folks who are unaware of what your mission is at Catholic Charity Services, could you just give an overview of what you guys do day to day?
Yeah, that would be great. Can I maybe start with a little of the history, if that works?
Please.
Okay. So yeah. So Catholic Charities, Washtenaw County, it was established in 1959. At that time, it was actually known as Catholic Social Services. So many in the area still know us of that way. About a year ago, we went through a name change to be Catholic Charities to kind of more create consistency throughout our diocese and connect back with our larger Catholic Charities organization. Saying that, just for some general background, we do work with the Catholic Church. So Charities was established by the Catholic Church, and they still contribute towards it. We fall under the Lansing Diocese. So for any of your listeners that are Catholic and part of that, the diocese are regions. In Michigan, it'd be counties, a group of counties. We fall under Lansing. There's one in Detroit. There's one out west, right? So they're different. The way the church is organized. The unique thing about Catholic Charities here, which I've been learning, is we are one diocese out of 5 in the nation that has separate Catholic Charities organizations. So we here fall just for Washtenaw County, but most Catholic Charities will be the whole diocese. So Detroit, it's all of Detroit Diocese, which is a large group of counties. And so we kind of have the benefit of really being able to focus on issues and concerns here in Washtenaw and really serve the people more directly. But to say it, the Catholic Charities was established and supported by the Catholic Church. As I said, it's been created to put the church's mission of charity into more of an organized and practiced action. So serving all people, regardless of their beliefs. Our mission here, and I'll say one of our main 3 pillars, is to be a ministry of mercy that is both authentically Catholic and intentionally inclusive. So we serve everyone. And I guess you have anything you want to add? We can talk about some of our programs.
Sure.
Yeah. So kind of diving into what does that mean and what do we do? So we serve across the lifespan of a person's life. So we have pregnancy counseling, we have adoption and foster care. We run the Child Advocacy Center for Washtenaw, which is a group that conducts forensics interviews for children that have been victims of abuse. It's a nice time for them to be able to say their story once with all the advocates, all of the law enforcement that needs to be there in the room. We have behavioral health counselors and domestic violence support groups. And we're actually, we might talk about a little later too, rolling out a new intensive outpatient program offering substance use support for victims of substance use, I guess I'll say, offering support for adults and adolescents. So that'll be group therapy with it. And then we also have a food pantry. So on the North Side Community Center, we have a drive-up food pantry. And we have a slew of senior services, which I'm going to let Rachael talk about.
So our senior services fall into 3 kind of buckets. We have our home services, our caregiver services, and resource navigation. So our home services are our home safety and home maintenance program. So we talk a lot about aging in place, but what does that really mean? What do you have to do to age in place safely in your home? Our staff can come out, do a variety of basic maintenance things to help people safely age in place, basic repairs, routine maintenance, things like that. They can install safety items such as smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, shower chairs, grab bars, little things like that that really make a difference in safely being at your home. They can also help with outdoor chore services. So they can help with leaf raking and snow blowing for people who can't otherwise afford that service.
So when you're saying you're doing all these services, do you have all the people that are working for Catholic Charities going out and doing this work, or are you working in conjunction with other companies and bringing all those services together?
It's all us.
It's all you.
We do have our program, the Home Safe Senior Initiative, where if someone does need more extensive work than what we can provide, we do work with other partners in the community. But it's us.
Yeah. So far, that's what, yes, it's mainly, we have 55 employees on staff, so we're a fairly large organization. And so far, the stuff we've named, you're right. Other than we do have volunteer support and things like that, but we always usually have a staff member as a focal point.
And so starting, let's say you had a child that had been abused and you're bringing in, how do they come to you? Are they being brought in through a different service and then you provide that?
So we are the source for that in Washtenaw County. So if you were just online kind of looking to see, we get referrals though from the authorities a lot.
Okay.
Since it does create, because there's other avenues, right? They could, go to court, go do all the different, they just have to repeat their story so many times. And so we'll get referrals from the county, from law enforcement to speak with the children because it's a nice, more comfortable atmosphere. Yeah.
Keep them from being victimized over and over again. It seems like.
Exactly. And usually, so our counselors will have an earpiece in so that the law enforcement who's behind like a one-way window, they can ask questions and get all the information they need in just a one-on-one setting with a counselor.
In Washtenaw County, what do you see is the biggest challenge for folks that are coming in and needing services? Are there any trends? Are there things that are going on now with the economy or politically, religiously? I know there's a lot of contention. Do you see that in here and people reaching out just for emotional services, social services?
We definitely have. Earlier this year, when food stamps were cut, we saw a large need for food assistance.
Right.
Our pantry needed a lot of extra support. They helped a lot of people in the community. Our resource advocates really stepped up. We put together a guide on the Senior Resource Connect website with places to find food. We really helped to publicize a lot of the kind of emergency food drives that popped up around the community. Again, just cost of living. We have a lot of people who are coming to us for help with things like utilities, rent, everyday costs that just for whatever reason are becoming more challenging.
Right. Interesting. I noticed that I live in Chelsea and we donate over to Faith in Action. And we just did a food drive in our neighborhood because Christmas and the holidays, everybody donates, but then you come out of the holidays and it's not so much anymore. And the one interesting thing I found is that the need for toiletry items
Yes.
that aren't usually addressed. So I imagine you guys have a lot of need for that as well.
We do actually specific drives for our, we have an offender success program where we help individuals that are coming out on parole to get settled back in, find a job, find housing, things like that. And we actually help them to set up kind of the first home type items. So sheets, blankets, the hygiene items are always needed. And so we do a lot of drives specifically focused on that because we know it's a huge area of need. And you're absolutely right. The food drives, such an influx over the holidays. And then there's kind of a dry spell sometimes come spring, summer.
Right.
So that can be hard.
We just kind of segued into housing instability, and that's when it just reminds me. Do you guys work at all with that HN2 home? Have you worked with
Oh,
Ginger
house
over
into a
there?
home. We refer
Yes.
some clients to house into a home, but we
It's
don't really
amazing.
have quite a partnership.
Right. It is an amazing program. I mean, it
Oh, yeah.
kind of reflects another one that was up in Pontiac. And I saw a talk on that about 10 years ago. And they said that people who are coming out of being homeless and if they're put into an apartment with furniture, the return rate to homelessness is like 0.01. Whereas if it's a home that isn't furnished, it's like 30%. And that number always stuck in my head that I thought was huge. So, what do you guys do to assist people with their housing needs? What are you seeing out there?
So you mentioned homelessness. One of the things that might surprise you is the number of older adults who are calling us because they're either in danger of becoming housing insecure or they're actively homeless. And this is a trend, unfortunately, all over the United States. Homelessness among older adults is on the rise. The number of older adults age 50 and over experiencing homelessness is expected to triple by 2030.
Is it because they can't afford the house anymore, or taxes, or a combination of utilities and taxes?
It's a combination of a lot of things. It's a combination of limited income. They're on pensions, they're on Social Security. A lot of people, their only income is Social Security, SSI, SSDI.
Right.
There are, like we said, cost of living is going up. What they thought they needed to save for retirement may not stretch as far anymore when, you look at the cost of just groceries. And also
Right.
there's a lack of affordable housing, which can also pose challenges.
Very much. I've noticed a trend where they're advertising to try to get people to live together. So it's almost like going back to college, but for seniors. Have you noticed a trend in that, or are you able to help people with that? So let's say there's one house and somebody would like a roommate to help them offset their costs.
So we don't do that specifically. The Washtenaw Housing Alliance, is that correct? Yep. Yeah, correct. Washtenaw
do that.
Housing Alliance, they have a brand new program. There was a program like that in the county before COVID, and we're very excited to see it back. It's a really cool idea where someone who is an older adult who has a home opens up their home to someone who's a little bit younger. The person pays a little bit of rent and helps them out with things that they can't do around the house. So it's really a win-win. The younger person gets housing and the older adult gets to stay in their home, in their community, and gets to age in place.
Especially in Washtenaw County with the University of Michigan and Eastern Michigan, you'd think there'd be really a great program for students that need a place to live.
Definitely.
Can I do a co-share?
Yes. Well, while we don't directly help in housing, we connect other people to resources such as the Housing Alliance for Washtenaw County, HAWK. The Housing Bureau for Seniors is another organization that we refer people to a lot. We can also have clients fill out complicated forms like waiting lists for housing programs. We can help them find housing programs in their area that might alleviate some of that stress.
What we try to do too with our resource advocates is if they call and say, hey, I have a housing situation, we can look at other types of resources that we available so that the money they do have can go towards housing. So maybe that's the answer of, hey, did you know there's a food pantry and you can get your groceries covered, which then can go back to here. And so I think kind of finding what that real need is and where there's resources available to then, be able to direct any resources you have towards something like
It's
that.
kind of an education of, instead of you having to put all your money towards this, maybe we can
Right.
lighten your load over here, and then you'll have the money for your housing.
Yeah,
That's
Exactly.
very
yeah, kind
interesting.
of
And it seems like,
where we can find help.
yeah, yeah. And if you don't want them to give up medication, you want to give them up
Mm.
food. So,
Right, right. And so
yeah,
some of
fine.
that, there are resources available
Mhm.
for those types of things. And I think people see, I mean, well, look, housing is expensive, right? And it's
Mm,
hard to come by the amount of money that it is. So I think you see that larger bill and you see if you can find help. But maybe if we can fill in some of these other gaps, it'll help you to be able to stay in that one. So
right.
yeah.
That's interesting. So, are there any specific programs you're especially excited about right now that is filling a need in
Can
the
we
area?
back up for a second? Just because
Yeah.
we got talking about the senior programs, and there's so many other programs that we do that I'd love to share. Hang on one
And
moment,
it
please.
Yes.
ties into stuff we're excited about.
Yes. Perfect.
So we also have, the next bucket is caregiving. So we have a volunteer caregiver respite program. So this is a really nice program. It matches seniors with trained volunteers. They provide non-medical care. So they sit with the person, they talk with the person, and they give caregivers that break that they need.
Nice.
Also have a grandparents raising grandchildren program. So this supports grandparents who are caring for their grandchildren, also called kinship care. And they provide them with information about children's needs, support groups, and resource navigation. We've talked a
So
little bit
these are
about
all, I'm sorry. So
That's
these
okay.
people will go to their house. They don't have to come in for these resources.
Yeah,
That's very nice.
for the respite program, that we will train them and pair them with a family that they be close physically to, right? Things like that. And so
Nice.
we really work with the volunteer to see kind of where their capacity is and what they can do. So we always need volunteers for that program. We have a huge wait list, but finding volunteers and then pairing them up, I think people get nervous about it, but we do provide all the training,
Mhm.
the background checks, things like that, so that we know that that caregiver is getting the respite they
Very
need.
good. So other programs?
Yes, we have a grandparent. We talked about raising grandchildren. Talked a little bit about resource advocacy. So our resource advocates help provide seniors with information, again, so they can stay in their communities for as long as possible, as long as safely possible. They help them with referrals to other agencies, again, filling out complicated forms, Medicare navigation, and help with
Wow.
resources related to basic needs like food and shelter. Finally, my program, Senior Resource Connect, should have grabbed one of those resources. Thanks.
Correct. Yeah, right. Don't forget to talk about your program.
Senior Resource Connect. Every year for over 30 years, we have put together a paper resource directory. So this is resources throughout the community. It's broken down into
Wow.
33 categories. We put this out every January. It's available free of charge. And we also have a website, seniorresourceconnect.mi.org, where we take all of these resources and put them online. So it's searchable. We are also not limited by the page. So there are over 500 resources online. We have a assessment quiz. A lot of the times when people call us, they say that they need help with A. And then when you're talking to them, you hear that they really need help with A, B, C, D, E. And so
Yeah.
that resource quiz is really helpful because if somebody knows that they need help, but is overwhelmed, doesn't know where to start, they can take that quiz and it will say, based on your answers, we think that you need help with A, B, C, D categories.
Interesting. We'll make sure we link that in the notes for the show.
Perfect.
You'll have
Thank
access
you.
to that.
There's a weekly blog that covers topics related to aging and caregiving. We have one big focus of Senior Resource Connect is elder abuse prevention. So we have an online elder abuse prevention training and a guide to calling adult protective services. A lot of the times you may know you need to call, but it can be intimidating when you don't know what
Yeah.
to expect.
Right. That's an interesting one. So you work with other partners throughout the community?
Yes, yeah, we do.
Okay. Can you give us an example of who you work with?
Yeah, so I would say one of our main, and I'd say natural partners, are the Catholic churches and the Catholic schools in the area. So we're all under the same diocese, and it really is kind of a natural partner for us. But we do work with the Community Action Network, or CAN. We actually, our food pantry is out of their facility. And we also work strongly with food gatherers. So they have a food security network where all the larger nonprofits that have food related services will be on there. Food Gatherers is a great partner and a nice focal point food area. And then, of course, the Washtenaw Housing Alliance, who we talked a little bit about. We don't do housing proper, but we're on that board to kind of stay associated with them and see what's going on in that arena. A lot of senior service connections as well.
Yeah, so a very natural partner for us is all the different senior centers. Washtenaw County is home to 12 different senior centers, and we work closely with as many of them as we can. We have a great partner in the Manchester Community Resource Center, and we're members of various community network, being Barrier Busters and Washtenaw County senior leaders.
Yeah, we found, and being new in the position, it's actually been a great time for me because I'm learning so much about all the nonprofit work that's being done in the county. Not being part of it before, I hate to say I didn't pay as much attention as I am now.
Right.
And going to these partner organizations, asking about what they do, how can we work together? We're really advocates of not duplicating efforts. I think that, where we can find where those holes are and what people truly need is just so important. And so that's actually part of our resource advocacy. Rachel's team can take all those calls and kind of see as they help people down the different paths they're going on to say, hey, we found that there's no resource for this or X, Y, or Z. And then we can look to determine if we need to fill that hole, find and work with partner organizations that might be able to. Yeah, a lot of partners, I'd say, in the area.
Are you guys able to benefit anyway from the older folks millage that went through? I call it older people millage.
We hope so. They're still actually working on putting out that RFP and telling us how they're going to be. We know the big pots of how they're going to use the money, but what that's going to look like, we're still kind of waiting for that to be released. But having so many senior services, yes, we hope so. And I'm really glad that the county supported and saw that need because we know how the senior population is continuing to grow, right? Come into that aging population and the need there is large. So we hope so.
I'm a part of that. When I found out I could drive the Wave for free, I told my friend, I said, we should go bar hopping one night on the Wave.
Right? And use those resources.
Yeah.
Use my resources. That's right. So you do want volunteers. What is the best way to volunteer if somebody wanted to help out?
Yes. So we do have a few different opportunities, and I'd say just support in general. So volunteering, you go to our website. We'll maybe link that in here too, which would really be great. We have a volunteer on there. We have like Eucharistic ministry outreach where we take the Eucharist to different hospitals in the area and other facilities.
Nice.
We have the caregiver respite program. I'll keep pushing that one because we do have a wait list for that, and it's such a beneficial program. And then, of course, things like our spring and fall yard cleanups can always use extra hands doing activities like that. But on our website, it'll have a whole list of our current needs. But I also want to kind of chime in for support to say, giving your talent. Like if you have something that you'd say, I really know this type of experience or skill for my job, such as we have an individual who comes and helps fill out Medicare forms for people on our own time. We have data entry, filing type things. I mean, we have different areas that we could use your talent or experience. And then, of course, giving financially, if you can. We have a pretty diverse funding stream for us, but we are a nonprofit and we have some programs that run completely on donor funding. So we I know if there are others in the Catholic Church out there, the time, talent, treasure, like this is the way that we believe it's important to give back. We have a responsibility to give back to people in our community. And so there are opportunities.
You had mentioned the Catholic schools earlier. It seems like it would be a good place for high school students to volunteer in the spring and the fall to get their volunteer hours in.
Yeah, absolutely. We have close ties with Father Richard that's in the area and get their hours in. And I'm trying to connect as well. I have connected as well with a lot of the elementary schools. We have a lot in the area. They help us a lot with drives. So those hygiene drives, things like stuffed animals for our CAC that we give out, usually a book and a stuffed animal for every child that comes through in that program.
I have a bucket of them downstairs if you guys will take them. They're like brand new. I
Yeah.
will put them in a bag and bring them out to you.
That's great. Yeah, yeah, that is the type of thing. And people love, when you can find a way to connect that and it's like this is what we need. It's a really great way to give and for us to connect with those communities and kind of see the difference they're making. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, I think we covered almost everything, but what are your hopes for the future of Catholic Charities of Washtenaw County?
So we're excited. We have some exciting things coming up. June is Elder Abuse Awareness Month. I'll be all over Ann Arbor, Ypsi, and other communities sharing our presentation, 5 simple things we can all do to prevent elder abuse. This is an hour-long presentation that covers different types of abuse, warning signs and risk factors, and how to have a conversation with somebody that you think might be being abused. We'll also be distributing something new this year called the Purple Packet. Purple is the color of elder abuse awareness. And the goal of these packets is to share clear, trusted, local information about elder abuse with the community in a form that's easy to understand, keep, and share. The packets will have information about topics such as caregiver supports, elder abuse warning signs, common scam warning signs, local reporting numbers, and our guide to calling adult protective services. Anyone who's interested in getting a packet, helping us distribute packets, they can call me at 7328. Maybe we can put that down below.
Put all that in there. That's awesome. So it sounds like you guys are doing a lot of great work, and it's just so nice to get this out in the community. And hopefully we'll be able to get some people to listen to this, do some volunteer work. And if there's anything that I can ever do for you guys, let me know, other than give you all of my stuffed animals.
That's right.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add before we close?
I just want to say thank you for having us on here. I mean, I think part of the difficult thing is getting the word out and letting people know what's available and what's here and how they can come be part of the good work we're doing. And so I really appreciate you having us on today to talk about all of it.
Thank you. I have learned so much, and it is such a great program. I appreciate you sharing everything with us. After we get off, I'll make sure that I have all of your information to put in the show notes, and then we'll coordinate this and get it out.
All right.
So thank you for joining me today. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining us today, and a big thanks to Rachael and to Brigette from Catholic Charities of Washtenaw County for the meaningful work that they're doing in our community. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future conversations, and check the show notes for resources and ways to get involved. Until next time, stay connected and take care.